Hey friends, here I'm Jason, the Intuitive Restorer, and I'm pulling your cards for the 26th of March. Let's see what we have in store for us today. Spirit, please give us a sign that we need to know to continuously live our lives out in love and light. Anything else? Alright. Anything else you'd like to know, Spirit? Alright, so the two cards that came flying out, the Nine of Swords, the Queen of Swords, and the Six of Wands. So that's very powerful. I feel as if when it comes down to it, since we have started to really speak our truth, since we really started to ultimately give birth to that new voice that lies within inside us, we have been shedding the trauma that ultimately latched on throughout this journey that we call life, you know? When you speak your truth, when you stand up for yourself, that's how ultimately you move forward. That's how you move past the trauma. That's how you ultimately heal. All right, the universe is saying ultimately with the Six of Wands, this is a healing kind of energy, my friends. We are letting go of the past. We're giving birth to a new kind of truth that is ultimately catapulting us to that person that we've been meant to be. All right, with all of the heartache, with all the pain, loss, anxiety, overthinking that we've ever had in our lives, my friends, I feel as if right now we've hit a pinnacle, you know, within our lives where we're ready to move on. Where we are ready to ultimately step forward. We are no longer feeling low. We are feeling just like a brand new person. You know what I mean? It's in this energy, my friends, that the universe is ultimately seeing what we've been through. The universe is ultimately rewarding us for ultimately making it through, for never, ever keeping our eyes off the prize, no matter how tough things got. We ultimately still rose above it. We still lifted ourselves higher and higher and higher with each day. And we never, ever held ourselves back, because ultimately, you know what, that Nine of Swords, it's a tough card, but it's all about letting go, just allowing yourself to just cleanse. Sometimes you just need to scream. You know, it's that breaking point when we ultimately see that we can't do it anymore. And because we've reached that point, my friends, it triggered something in us. It triggered something in us. It ultimately had us give birth to a new version of ourselves where we found our strength. Within the darkness, we found the light. All right, and no, in this light lies the universe celebrating us. We have moved forward past some dark times, my friends, and today is going to be showing you exactly that. All right, we are no longer the same people we once were, my friends. All right, because we see exactly all of the new opportunities that are to come, with all of the prosperity, with all of the wealth, with all of the drive and the just like power in the world to thrive, to ultimately prosper, my friends. This is, I feel as if we're really learning to be in that state of empowerment all over again before the trauma hit. This is us. We have been crawling. Now we're walking. And my friends, with this Knight of Wands, we are about to run. We found the balance needed to ultimately step forward on a pathway towards our greatest good. All right, you see this? You see this? The Six of Swords. What is she doing? There's a sneaky little shithead with a little sly look on his face looking back at us, but she's in the opposite direction. She is no longer entertaining that kind of conflict. She's no longer entertaining the past. She's no longer living in the past. She is turning her back on the past, and she understands what's waiting for her. And she's bringing in that peace, and she's bringing in that calm to ultimately open herself up to the possibilities and to open herself up to the new beginnings full of clarity and full of just ultimate, victory over her thoughts, my friends. With this Three of Pentacles, with the High Priestess, and with the Queen of Wands, all right? This is very powerful, my friends. The Knight of Wands takes action based upon the activity. The Queen of Wands gives birth to the activity. All right? It's a kind of situation with the High Priestess. You're giving birth to this activity. You are taking charge and you are taking action based upon your intuition and the drive that you've acquired over this healing journey. My friends, I feel as if this ultimately has just been such a spiritual awakening for us. This has been such a spiritual awakening for us. But the High Priestess is ultimately the card of a spiritual, powerful awakening. She's run by the moon. Psychic abilities are coming forward. You're going to be seeing and feeling things that you haven't felt before. Intuition, mediumship, angel communication, whatever the case may be. It's different for everyone. Or maybe just good old, like I said, intuition. Know that the High Priestess carries that those spiritual kind of awakenings, my friends. The High Priestess is a card which talks about digging deep and ultimately conquering that those shadows. All right, finding the healing energy to ultimately conquer the things that subconsciously that have been holding us back. All right, the Three of Pentacles is all about, community, working together, cooperation. All right, I have a big feeling that this has to do with allowing yourself to open up to others again, working with others. Maybe for a while you kind of were standoffish because maybe you didn't trust people. A big part of this development, my friends, is by allowing friends in, by allowing family in, by working with others, by allowing yourself to be surrounded and loved by your community. All right, with the Two of Wands, with the Nine of Pentacles, and with the Four of Pentacles in reverse, that they're saying ultimately, we have been getting ready for quite some time for the ship to arrive. We've been packing, we've been ultimately waiting for this vacation, my friends. Prosperity has ultimately been presented to us. With getting ready, with getting mentally and intuitively, in check for the journey that we're about to go on, my friends. With the Six of Wands, that journey is happening right now. With the Six of Swords, as it's calm now, we know what we're doing to make the moves to ultimately progress. We're letting go of the tight grip with that Four of Pentacles in reverse, and we're bringing on this prosperity with this Nine of Pentacles. The Nine of Pentacles in the typical Rider-Waite shows like important figure of society. All right, there's a bird perched on the hand, and then there's a snail right next to him. We're feeling that ultimately things have been happening so slowly. That's what we've been feeling. But no, it was happening because ultimately we're meant to enjoy this prosperity. Excuse me. We're meant to enjoy this prosperity with no bars held. All right, the bird symbolizes freedom to spread its wings and fly. Spirit's been waiting for us to get to a point of our lives where we're ready to ultimately spend this prosperity wisely. You know what I mean? It's the kind of situation you don't want something if you're not ready for it. That's the thing, and Spirit has been waiting for us to ultimately be ready for it. Spirit has been waiting for us to ultimately let go of the tight grip, to ultimately allow these things to come forward, my friends. It's the kind of situation, I feel as if there are things happening in our lives which is taking us by surprise right now, and it's in those surprises that we're finding prosperity, that we're finding love, that we're finding healing, that we're finding grounding energy, and that we're finding the knowing that the past is the past. Like I said, we're letting go of trauma. That Ten of Swords in reverse is exactly that. in one card. We are letting go of the trauma and we're allowing ourselves to be set free. We've come to a completion of a cycle where we ultimately understand and know we are not the same people anymore, and we are ready to bring on what is rightfully ours. And that is our destiny. All right, my friends. My name is Jason, the Intuitive Restorer. If you identify with the things I've said, please subscribe. Like. The more you like this video, the faster the message will get out. I run 2 Facebook groups. My first Facebook group is called Intuitive Restorer, where I go live weekly. I'm probably going to go live tonight. All right. I release these readings on there as well. And I also help run another group called Soulful Sharing, where I also help run that, where it's more of a public platform. All right. So I love all y'all very much. I also do personalized readings as well. I do half-hour readings, hour readings. If you connect with my energy, you're looking for a message, reach out. All right. You can go ahead and comment below in the comments, or you can reach out to me through my email, intuitiverestore@gmail.com. All right. I love all y'all very much. Remember, you're meant to fly. Spread your wings and allow yourself to feel free. All right. Love you guys. Bye.